Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond. Be sure to hit like and subscribe so others can find the channel. Today we have a very special guest, a guy by the name of Todd Hanson, who is Vice President, Center for Engaged Philanthropy at Orange County Community Foundation, OCCF, with more than 25 years of experience working with both nonprofits and donors, especially during his time with OCCF. His contributions have led to the establishment of Social Innovation Fund, which helps advance social and economic well-being in Orange County. Welcome, Todd.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on the show. And so as we sort of go through this process, I always found it interesting when you talk about philanthropy. There's certainly a lot of people with a lot of money that are looking to do some good things at some point in their lives. So what's your role as Vice President of the Center for Engaged Philanthropy at OCCF?
All right. Well, you kind of teed it up very nicely. There's a lot of people with big hearts and have done very well financially. And they just really want to make a difference. But, that's a little harder than you would think. There's so many options and there's so many organizations out there. And so that's my role, is to work with them. They set up funds here, either instead of their own private foundation or in partnership. And I work with them very closely to make the impact that they want to do with their giving.
When you come across these people in philanthropy, are they doing it for the sake of helping people because they've gotten to a point in life where they've had so much material blessing and financial blessing that they feel compelled, or is it part of it a tax play, or what's the driving motivation for somebody to set up philanthropy?
I'd say it's because they want to give back. I mean, the tax play obviously is a component of that, and that's important and helpful. But there's so many other ways you can do tax advantage wise. You don't necessarily have to give back to the community. And so the ones that come here, really, that's what they want to do. And they want to partner like the Community Foundation to walk with them to help them make the difference that they want to do.
Right, like a one-stop shop in a sense, where I've come into money or whatever, and now I want to know how I can. So when we talk about Orange County Community Foundation, are you guys focused on a specific type of philanthropy, or is this just open-ended depending on how the person wants to spend those monies?
Great question. No, we are not focused on one type of philanthropy. And that's what makes this job so interesting, is everyone that comes in the door has a different idea or passion. And we're going to meet them where they're at to make that happen. So for example, you might have someone come in and say, Todd, I really want to make sure that I address the challenges with the climate. I want to give, to environmental organizations. Someone else will say, well, I love animals and I want to really make sure that animals are treated well. So it's across the board, of what difference they want to make. And that's what's really a community foundation. We're not issue specific, whether it's the arts or environment or education or healthcare, all those different issues that are important to people, we're here to support them.
So in a nutshell, what is the mission of OCCF?
So our mission is really to inspire a passion for lifelong philanthropy. And then we want to faithfully steward the intentions of our donors. And then we want to catalyze sustainable community impact.
So when you think about the role you play, what role do you play in Orange County? And do you go beyond Orange County, or is it just Orange County centric?
So two questions there. So the role in Orange County. So to put it very simply, our role is to make this a better place for all of us. So whether that's funding trails so you can hike on, or funding the organization providing food so people that are out there have enough to eat. We're doing all of that to make it a better place for all of us. And however, if you set up a fund here, you probably have traveled. Maybe you went to school in another state, you have family in other areas, maybe you have a house in another area. So we have quite a few people that we work with that give nationally, and we've got quite a bit to give internationally. They might give here also, but we're not limited to just Orange County.
When you think about your business model, is it really word of mouth or is it advertising? Because it seems to me if you've had great success for certain people, they would tell like-minded friends.
Yeah, it is mostly word of mouth. And the other source too is often attorneys and CPAs. So they're working with their clients and they'll be discussing, where they're going with their life and their assets. And they'll say, hey, have you thought about the Community Foundation as an option for your philanthropy?
Yeah, makes sense. So, philanthropy is not maybe in everybody's wheelhouse or on their radar screens when they're growing up. To me, maybe one could argue it's more of a niche segment or career direction, but maybe not, because now you're knee deep into it. Maybe there's a lot of philanthropies out there that are providing similar services. As we know, there's many more millionaires being minted daily. So can you give us a quick 60-second summary of the path you took to get to your current position?
Yes. So I was very fortunate. I had a mom who always pushed me to volunteer. So all growing up and even through college, I was an active volunteer, and I volunteered for nonprofits, but it never occurred to me that was a career option. I went to school at Cal State Fullerton, got a degree in business and marketing, and really loved that. But then my path led me to a nonprofit that I became an executive director. And in that role, I was supposed to go out in the community and find out what the needs were, then create programs to design it. So I did that for 8 years. And in that, I met a lot of people in the community, and most other nonprofit in Orange County I interacted with. And then the president of OCCF is Shelley Haas. So she ran another nonprofit that I worked with. And she came over here after the founder had retired and was growing the foundation, and just knew of my background experience. And I came over to the Community Foundation 20 years ago. And it's been quite a exciting adventure here. We started the first year, I think we granted $6 million. And this most recent fiscal year, we granted over $100 million. So we've grown quite a bit over those 20 years.
That's amazing. Wow. That's some statistics there. So I know the purpose of OCCF's Social Innovation Fund is to support nonprofit innovations and advance social and economic well-being in Orange County. Can you tell us a little bit more about that part of your mission?
Yeah. So if you think about it, almost every nonprofit is doing that. They exist to help, social and economic needs. However, what I've learned and seen is, if you've got a great new idea or another way of doing it, it is hard to get funding. Because if in the philanthropic world, most philanthropists, they want a history. They want to know what you're going to do is working, has worked, they want results. So for your new ideas are harder to get supported. And when you look around in the rest of the business world, let's take Netflix as an example. So when we were going to Blockbuster back in the day, we were happy. It was a great service. But someone said, there's maybe a better way to help us access movies. And where did they go? They went to some, VCs, to support it. And so that happens in the nonprofit community. They're saying, hey, we're doing good stuff now, but how about if we did it this way, or we did this instead? We could maybe do a better job. And that's what this is about, is, hey, we've got a place for you to come with those ideas. We're going to help incubate them and support them and help you make them happen.
Yeah, I think it's really important because, depending on what sector you're in, medical device or whatnot, sometimes VC funding is tough to come by. Sometimes it's hard to connect with angels. But nonetheless, you have phenomenal ideas that just need to get funded, right? And depending on the markets and the timing, they can be dry. And so last year, I know in Orange County, the Community Foundation hosted a virtual demo day on September 30th at UCI Beal's Center for Innovation Entrepreneurship. Tell me more about that. It sounds like you received 70 proposals from eager nonprofits. Tell us about that, and how do you select who moves on to demo day? Sure.
So what we first do is we advertise to the nonprofit community, said, hey, we've got an opportunity to fund your innovative ideas. So send us, a write-up of what that is, and we're going to review it. So we put together a committee of people from the business community, venture capitalists and investors and entrepreneurs, and we read through all those. And we narrow it down to the top, 5 or 6 through a process. And then those top projects that we really like the best go to the demo day. And we call it a demo day because it's similar to what you do in the investment world, where we're going to bring some projects to you, and if you like them, we invite you to fund them. And that's part of what is tricky for the organizations participating, is they may not get any funding if no one likes their idea. But of course, we're pretty confident that they will, and they do. But then what we do is we invite philanthropists and other people from the community to come hear their ideas. And if they're inspired and like what they're doing, we encourage them to make them the donation to make it possible.
So when you talk about ideas, could they be space, technology, medical? I mean, is it the whole smorgasbord, or are there specific sectors that philanthropists tend to invest in versus others?
It can be the smorgasbord, but let me give you like one specific example that kind of does both. So one of the first projects we supported is called Samaritan, and it's a technology solution to helping the homeless. So it is an app-based program, but it was so well received by everyone because it addressed a lot of challenges that we all see in our daily life. So there's a lot of amazing nonprofits that help people that are experiencing homeless, but we still need more tools, to address the problem. That's what Samaritan is. It's a way for you. So that if you're going down the street and you have the Samaritan app on your phone, it'll ping up who that person is that needs help, and you can actually give them money through your phone. So I'm saying this kind of very quickly, but their motto is walk with, not by. Because what happens when we see someone struggling on the street, we don't know what to do. How do you help them the best? If you give them money, are they going to use it well? These are all the questions that come up. And so we walk by. But what if we go walk with them and support them? And that's what this app does. Because in order to get in the program, get supported, you have to be seeing a case manager. And they're creating a plan for you to get to self-sufficiency. But oftentimes there's barriers to that plan. You need money for a job interview, for bus fares, for clothes. And that's what we can do is when we have that app, we can say, hey, I like what you're doing. I'm going to give you $25 towards your goal so you can get to self-sufficiency.
I like it because sometimes you don't know where the money's going, as you said on the top end of this, is you just don't know where it's going to go, if it's going to be helpful. I think that's phenomenal. I think it's a good plan. So it's amazing because I've raised a lot of money through venture capital, and that's typically the funding source for many startups, or it could be strategics, or it could be angels, right? But I really haven't heard it through the philanthropic approach. So is this what inspired the creation of the Social Innovation Fund?
Exactly. And actually the first program that really was kind of the base for why we should do that is actually, it's called Sandy Hook Promise, which is based in Connecticut. And what really I liked about their program is we've had so many school shootings, and you hear the same story after every one. It's like, well, there were signs, but no one put them together, were able to do something. And then you heard all these, but no one had a good idea. Every time it kept happening, nothing changed. And then they came along, and so they've got a program called Know the Signs, where they trained students to look for the signs and then know what to do with them. So if you see a classmate that is doing these behaviors, what do you do? Because that's what happened is they would see them, they didn't know who to tell what to do, but they created a program to do that. And that's what I tell the organizations, if you're going to apply, you should explain your program to other people, and they go, wow, why doesn't that already exist? Then it's going to be a fit for what we're doing here.
Is this an app-based program?
Yeah, so what they're doing is both. It's an app-based where you can plug in, what you're seeing, and it'll connect you to resources. But it's also an education-based where they train teachers to train youth on this program of knowing the signs.
That sounds obvious, but a lot of things are obvious or overlooked for sure. So what is OCCF's role in this fund, and how else are you identifying innovation in Orange County?
So our role in this fund is to promote it to the nonprofit community and vet out the best projects, and then promote it to the philanthropic and business community so they have a chance to see what's going on and provide an opportunity to give financial support to it. And I should add that many of the programs don't have an earned income component. So to make them happen, they need charitable contributions. However, some of them will make money, but they need that startup. Let me give you one example. One of the programs we supported, that was also one of the favorites, is called Concierge Care Navigators, and it's run by our Council on Aging. And what it is if you have a family member that is aging or dealing with health issues, it's a strain on the family. Siblings get together, who's going to help it, who's doing what, who's managing the medication, who's going to the grocery store, who's looking at if they have to go into a home, who's picking it, what criteria. I mean, it's challenging. And I met with a lot of people who went through that situation, and they had to navigate it on their own. And so what Concierge Care Navigator is they'll come in with you with an expert, with a nurse who will create a care plan for your family. And there's a technology component also, but they'll go on doctor visits with you. They will help manage the process that so many of us go through when we have aging parents or other family members. But there is a revenue component to it. It doesn't cost a lot, but a little bit. But it's going to take them several years to get it to break even, and that's where the giving comes in to get them to that point.
So just to be clear, this nonprofit philanthropy is for nonprofit and for profit, depending on what it is. Because at some level, as you're investing, you come up with ideas that could generate revenue. So are you guys agnostic to the business model, or do you tend to go more towards a nonprofit sort of approach?
Good question. I would say we're more agnostic to the business model. We're looking more at, is this something that is really going to make a difference and change lives?
Mm-hmm.
However, there has to be a sustainability component. So if we give it money and then it gets going and then it runs out of steam, that was maybe the best choice to do. So it does play into how will they keep this going once we support it.
Now, when money's given to a for-profit, I imagine you guys get into the cap table, right? There's percent ownership. You're investing into the company that's for-profit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, actually, we're not doing that through the fund. So this fund is only for the nonprofit organizations. Even if the nonprofit does have a revenue component, we are not getting into any revenue sharing or any possible upsides to what they're doing.
Got it. So can you tell me more about some nonprofits in Orange County that are doing some amazing work?
Yeah, boy. That's the best thing about this role is, if you turn on the news, sometimes you can really see some of the unpleasant side of humanity. But I can tell you that is only this part of it, because every day there are so many organizations dedicated to doing good. And let me just tell you maybe a couple of them. So this is another project we supported. There's a nonprofit in Placentia called Homeless Intervention Services, His House. And they created a program called Home Share. And what that is it's connecting college students who are struggling financially with an older adult who could use some help around the house. And so in exchange for reduced rent, they will match the two, pair you up. The college student gets affordable housing. The older adult gets, whether it's to do some cleaning or grocery shopping or run errands, get some help. And best of all, there's a companionship option there. So again, it's like it's solving two needs, helping out quite a bit, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. You're really connecting two aspects that really need and are codependent in some respects. And I think the whole social angle is really important, because there's, as I think about what you're talking about, there are so many things that could fall into similar categories that need this kind of help, that need this interconnectivity, that needs a connective tissue as people age, right? A lot of needs come up, right? Especially aging adults, or someone comes across and all of a sudden goes into bad health for whatever reason, or they're homeless or picket, right? And it was funny what you said in the front end about what's going on in this world. And I tend to agree. I think things are much better than the media projects. I think there's a plan around that projection, but I think by and large, as I've come around people, there's a lot of great things going on. I'm so glad we're able to highlight that. So in terms of your organization, what's next on the horizon?
So, well, we're going to continue this fund each year because there's still so many amazing ideas, and I get to hear them in my role. So part of my role is to support our, philanthropists to set up funds here. The other part is to be on the community and work with the nonprofits to see what they're doing, and then when I'm out there, I'm hearing their ideas, and that's when I want to get it together and do this fund where maybe we can support them more.
Now, in terms of this fund, you guys have a steering committee or a board that meets to discuss who they're going to invest in as it bubbles up, the top 5. Is there select people within your organization that sits on that committee to make those decisions?
Yeah, so it's a mix of some of our board members. And then, like I mentioned, we reach out to like the Beal Center for Innovation. So Matt Bailey, who was running that, he's an entrepreneur, he sits on it. JJ Richa, who's with Pismo Ventures. Just got to meet him through something else. He doesn't even work with us directly, but just a great guy, likes to help. And he does this, on his professional side. He's a great fit, to add to this committee.
Perfect. Yeah, that's important to have that competence, right? Any future plans you can discuss?
Well, I know there's some really good projects that we want to support, but they're still in the incubation stage. And what I can tell you is and since you've got such a great following, I'll send you the link, is this fall, we're going to do another demo day. And we're keeping our fingers crossed we can do it live, because last year we had to do it virtual like everyone else. And it went very well. We raised a lot of money, but not the same as being in person. So we're hoping to do another one of those days this fall at the Beal Center. And there's going to be some really great projects coming forward.
So when you have a demo day, describe for the audience, what does that look like? Does someone come up and pitch and have a presentation? There's judges and there's audience members that are listening. I mean, how does that look like if people were to do demo day?
It's exactly as you stated. They come up, they're given about 7 minutes, to go through their idea, a little Q&A. And then at the end, we have a website where then they can go on and they can contribute to the projects that they like.
Great. Send that link, because I'll put it on the when I post it on YouTube for sure, and my other social media posts. I want to make sure people are aware of this, because I know there's a lot of people with ideas looking for people to help them out. So I think that's great. So the Orange County Community Federation is the organization to work for those interested in supporting innovation, social justice, and more. It's also perfect for anyone seeking to maximize their charitable impact in their lifetime or through a legacy fund. How can people get in touch with you and get involved?
That's a good thing is, we're still, we have 30 staff here and any one of us can help you. We're very high touch and easy to contact. So you can call anytime, our number, you can put our number up and you can ask for me or just say, hey, I'd like to open a fund here, and they'll connect you to the right person. Also our website, it's www.oc-cf.org. And of course, all the information there on who we are, what a fund is. And we're just happy to talk to you and see what your ideas are. And if you're a good fit, we're be glad to work with you.
Fantastic. Todd, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, just one thing I'd like to mention also that we didn't really cover too much is the other thing that we do is we do community leadership. And so if you see something in the community that you would like to address, you can call and we might put together a program for it. I'll give you an example. We have people in the community reach out to us, some that had funds, some that did not. They wanted to help veterans because we were having drawdown, and there was just a lot of veterans coming home, and some that needed more support than they were getting. And so we got together a group of donors and foundations, and we put together a veterans initiative. We've raised over $5 million over the years to support really effective programs that are meeting the needs of veterans. So it's really helpful to share that we're here to be a convener and speak about it, but that was supported by other foundations and donors and people throughout the community to make collective impact.
Yeah, it reminds me of that app for the homeless. You can walk by and they're now into a system and you can donate. That would almost be appropriate for veterans, right? That are struggling with mental health issues, that are going through a process that they could literally, maybe an app that the veteran can reach out via the app and get some help immediately, right?
Exactly. And one nice thing about the app is you can go on and you can donate to them, and it goes to a pool that is then supported. But you can also send them a message. And
what's the name of the app?
It's called Samaritan.
Samaritan. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so important.
The power of just an attaboy is you're doing great. Keep it up. It's nice to hear those, and that's what you can do in connecting with the people you're helping.
Yeah, like the Bible said, there's words have the power of life and death, right? So we got to speak and choose wisely what we say, and certainly breathing life into people. At least if you look at the media, that doesn't happen much. But again, I think that's projection. I think in reality, people are incredibly good natured, have big hearts, and when they see people that have needs, absolutely want to get involved. So, Todd, fired up about what you're doing. I think it's exciting. It's like a whole new world when I do these interviews, because to listen to what you're doing and the impact you're making through people that have made it in this culture and they're giving back is really what it's all about.
Exactly. Thanks, Ben.
All right, man. Thanks for your time. Look forward to talking soon.
Okay, very good. Likewise.